Alright, so this is going to be a very techy video. So if you're not into tech, you may find it extremely boring, borderline on a bit confusing. But if you are into tech at all, especially if you are on the content creator side like I am, I run a YouTube gaming channel full-time as my job and career, then you may find this video extremely useful and valuable, because this device right here, the HDFury Vertex, saved myself so many headaches. It was basically a godsend in this little box right here. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you about it, give you guys a review, and let you know my thoughts. So hopefully you guys enjoy the video. All right, so if you guys have been with the channel, I'd say within the last 6 months and up until now, you guys have probably noticed that for all the Let's Plays I do now on YouTube, all the video game walkthroughs that I do, I upload exclusively in 4K right now. We're eventually gonna get there where all series and the standard on YouTube will be 4K. And I find that even if you're not watching in 4K, if you upload in 4K, the downscaled version at 1080p still looks better than people who upload in 1080p by itself. So that's why I've made the switch. If the people who have the bandwidth can watch it at high resolution, if you can't, you can always just downscale and it will still look better. But I'd say you guys probably noticed that the transition to 4K was extremely challenging because it's a completely different beast and monster. One of the main issues that you run into is that with 4K, they introduced a new HDCP encoding system. So with 1080p, we had the HDCP 1.4, and you could get around that fairly easily with basically a $10 HDMI splitter that you can find at a Best Buy. But with 4K, they introduced a new format called HDCP 2.2. And there was no way any longer, no matter what you bought on Amazon, despite what everyone claimed, there was no way to split HDCP 2.2. You could still split the video, but there was no way to strip HDC 2.2. And I know that the Xbox One, for instance, doesn't support HDCP, and you can disable it fairly easily on the PlayStation 4 system, the menus and all that type of stuff. But the problem is it's just a pain in the ass because there are so many other apps that you kind of have to play around with in order just to transition to. So if you want to, let's say, watch Netflix on your PlayStation 4, you have to re-enable the HDCP in order to do so. And at the same time, if you guys have ever seen underneath a YouTuber's desk, you know that it is literally just wires everywhere. In order to basically do what you want, swapping between HDCP 2.2 and playing in 4K, you basically would have to reach underneath your desk every single time, and it was just a gigantic headache. Enter the HDFury Vertex. I went on the line and basically searched for everything that I possibly could find about HDCP stripping 2.2, and I found this device. And I reached out to the people at HDFury and contacted them and said, I noticed that you have this device. I would like to try it to see if it just makes my life a lot easier. And they were very kind. They actually sent me this device for free to review. And my God, it's so well designed in terms of everything is clearly labeled. It has so much functionality. They give you 2 options for inputs. So if you want to input 2 different signals, let's just say if you want to have one device, like you want to have your PlayStation hooked up, but you also have an Xbox, you want those hooked up at the same time. You don't want to reach your desk every single time to just basically plug in whatever you want to plug in. It does that as well. And it has 2 output devices as well. So obviously you can get the native 4K coming out of both slots, but if you're, let's just say, a streamer and you want to still play at 4K resolution, but you want to stream the signal to whatever capture card that you have at only 1080p, because you don't need the 4K because no one streams at 4K. No one does, because it would just consume so much bandwidth, and you just want the signal to be 1080p for your stream. You can scale the signal down to 1080p, and yeah, it works. Honestly, the best thing I can say is that it just works fantastically. So on the back of the device, you have a really clearly labeled menu that tells you what all the switches do. So on the top, you have the toggle between HDCP 2.2 and 1.4. And then you also have an EDID audio mixer. I generally just keep this on stereo anyways. And then at the very bottom, you have the scaling option. So once again, if you want to output 2 different signals through the 2 different outputs, you can play at 4K and output a 1080p signal. I generally just keep it at 2 4K signals because I run them to 2 separate devices. And if you flip to the front, you'll notice that it has an LED screen, which tells you exactly when you boot up the device for the first time and you have what you want to be connected, it will actually label the device where it's inputted. So just pretty much it's foolproof. It tells you exactly what's connected, where it's going to be output, the signal it's being outputted, and yeah, there's no confusion whatsoever. I love this. Oh my, I love this thing. It just made life so much easier. If you guys followed my 4K transition to 4K last year, the series that I did, you guys know that it was a rough ride. There was a lot of problems with the editing software, a lot of program recording problems, and this just solved all my problems altogether, so I love it. In terms of a power source, you get this little block which powers the device via a USB cable, micro USB cable. It has 2 inputs at the bottom, so if you have multiple devices, that works as well. So yeah, in terms of what it does everything that it advertises to do. Although the device is somewhat expensive, but I personally find that since I'm on the content creating side and this is my job, I probably would have paid at least double the price for what it's actually costs, because yeah, it just makes my life a lot easier. And for all those who don't need the 2 signals to be outputted, if you just need the HDCP 2.2 stripping by itself, they do offer another device called the Ultra AVR key, which once again, it just purely strips HDCP 2.2. But personally myself, I need the 2 signals because yeah, I need it because I output to 2 separate devices. So yeah, yeah, thank you guys so much, HDFury, for sending me this. They're not paying me for this review, but I was just extremely happy of how the device functioned, and I do get to keep it. So hopefully, if you're on the content creation side, hopefully maybe this video was helpful for you. If you are having issues with HDCP 2.2, if this video helped you at all, let me know in the comment box below. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, have a fast day.